My sermon could be entitled Enjoy Yourself, It's Later Than You Think, or more positively stated, Enjoy Yourself, It's Never Too Late. The title is just a title. It's really a jumping off point for me. It comes from a song by Guy Lombardo and his Royal Canadians from November of 1949. You work and work for years and years, you're always on the go. You never take a minute off, too busy making dough. Someday, you say, you'll have your fun when you're a millionaire. Imagine all the fun you'll have in your old rocking chair. You're going to take that ocean trip, no matter come what may. You've got your reservations made, but you just can't get away. Next year, for sure, you'll see the world. You'll really get around. But how far can you travel when you're 6 feet underground? Your heart of hearts, your dream of dreams, your ravishing brunette, she's left you. And she's now become somebody else's pet. Lay down that gun. Don't try, my friend, to reach the great beyond. You will have more fun by reaching for a redhead or a blonde. Enjoy yourself, says the chorus. Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Enjoy yourself while you're still in the pink. The years go by as quickly as a wink. Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Please don't think that I'm going to advocate all of us becoming hedonists, thinking that the satisfaction of desires is the highest good and the proper aim of human life. That's not what I'm about this morning. While this song has some good points and actually has quite funny words, what I'm about is actually looking at priorities in our lives. Plus, enjoyment. But not enjoyment for enjoyment's sake. That's not the enjoyment I want to bring to your attention. Rather, another side of enjoyment. So let's start there. The Danes have a word for it. They spell it Hygge. It's a Danish term defined as a quality of coziness and comfortable conviviality that engenders a feeling of contentment and well-being. And it's pronounced Hoo-guh. I don't know how they get that from Hygge, but they do. The word is said to have no direct translation in English, although cozy comes close. It derives from a 16th century Norwegian term, Hygge, Hugga, meaning to comfort or to console, which is related, of course, to the English word hug. And, my friends, this is the time for it, as this is the year of Hygge. Perhaps the Scandinavians are better able to appreciate the small Hygge things in life because they already have the big ones nailed down. Free university, social security, universal health care, efficient infrastructure, paid family leave, and at least a month of vacation a year. And with those necessities secured, the Danes are free to become aware of the decoupling between wealth and well-being. After our basic needs are met, more money doesn't lead to more happiness. Instead, Danes are good at focusing on what brings them a better quality of life. When I was growing up, the word that was used, or at least described best what was important in our household, was duty. Not enjoyment, duty. My dad was all about duty. And I was growing up on a farm, and so that meant that you had stuff that you were supposed to do. Tasks like getting the eggs from the hen house, or pulling weeds in the garden, or making the beds, or drying the dishes. You weren't expected to do stuff that was beyond your capabilities, but Everyone had a role to play. And it was your duty to fulfill that role. Don't get me wrong, there were plenty of hugs and lots of love, but no one seemed too concerned if your life wasn't very joyful. And then along came school, with lots of stuff that you had to learn, and not just facts and school subjects, but how to get along with others, how to understand yourself as you grew and matured. Not an easy thing, and made more difficult for us by having to get to school by hayrick in the winter, sometimes at minus 30 degrees, by cart and pony in the spring and fall, and finally, by a long school bus ride when our country school was closed and we had to go to school in the nearest town. They were good times, but there were also bad times. For one thing, we couldn't join in on any of the extracurricular stuff that the town kids did because we were on a bus. Then, when our family moved to the city, it was too late to gain any of the skills in sports or games or in social graces. We were behind, and we stayed there. The effects compounded as you went from one grade to a higher one. We did our best. We tried to enjoy what we had, and we did. And because we didn't really know what we were missing, we didn't complain. We just accepted that that was what it was and made the best of it. My Uncle Ed had a lot of land as they moved to a farm outside of Edmonton early on. Today it's right in the middle of South Edmonton. But anyway, then he planted potatoes, and the three sister-related families, my two aunts and my mother, who lived in Edmonton, got together at harvest and made a full day out of digging potatoes, bagging them and putting them in storage to feed ourselves in the coming winter. When the bees filled their hives with honey, the same was true. We all gathered together and drained the honey, filtered it, put it into jars, and used it in the coming winter. Our coming together as families was fun, and we sure liked eating the potatoes and the honey, so that was all good. And we had many times of Hoo-guh, great celebrations at Christmas when the three families came together for a feast. The older guys in their teens always tried to see who could eat the most. Ours was a big family. I had at one time, I counted about 48 first cousins. But there were only 4 of us in my nuclear or immediate family. Mind you, it seemed to me that we most always had someone staying with us when we lived on the farm, and usually, quite often, even when we lived in the city, because families helped families whenever help was needed, and no one was turned away from a meal or a place to stay or a handout or a hand up, whether they be family or stranger. I remember one time when my dad showed up with a family whose car had broken down on the road near our farm. He was towing the car with the tractor. It turned out that they had to order a part for the car in order to fix it. They stayed with us while that part was coming. They stayed with us, and I guess it seemed like a couple of weeks, maybe not that much, but the mail wasn't always that good either then in those days. But anyhow, when the part came, they put it into the car, and they were ready to go. As they left, they waved to the little lad riding his pony to come alongside the car as they slowed down and rolled down their window. They handed the little guy something and told him to take it to his parents, which he did. By this time, of course, they had speeded up, and it was too late to catch them. They had, of course, given him some money. The young lad, of course, was me, but you knew that, didn't you? My parents, however, were not happy with me at all. They were ashamed to take money for their help, which had been freely given, and I was too young to know that. I was too young. All that I remember was feeling really bad. No hygge for me then, for sure. I'm certain that all of us have experienced moments like these in our lives that haven't been Hygge? And you might be asking yourselves, why is he talking about these things? What does it have to do with us and our church? Well, I think it has to do with our priorities, many of which have been set in concrete for us by those early experiences, by our families, by our schooling, by the socializing that we have done in our growing up. And you'll notice I said set in concrete. Very hard stuff to change. And even though we as Unitarian Universalists have a living tradition which draws from many sources, and we sing a very wonderful congregational affirmation of priorities, quite often it is very difficult for us to actualize those priorities because we're mired in those concrete ones we haven't yet been able to overcome. Just recently, I was sent an email about a question that was asked Albert Einstein. They asked him, did he believe in God? And his answer was, I believe in the God of Spinoza. Let me read you the email. The whole thing says this. When Einstein gave lectures at U.S. universities, the recurring question that students asked him most was, do you believe in God? And he always answered, I believe in the God of Spinoza. Baruch de Spinoza was a Dutch philosopher, considered one of the great rationalists of the 17th century, and along with Descartes. And this is what Spinoza has to say. God would say, stop praying. What I want you to do is go out into the world and enjoy your life. I want you to sing, have fun, and enjoy everything I've made for you. Stop going into those dark, cold temples that you built yourselves and saying that they're my house. My house is in the mountains and in the woods, and the rivers, the lakes, the beaches. That's where I live, and there I express my love for you. Stop blaming me for your miserable life. I never told you that there was anything wrong with you, or that you were a sinner, or that your sexuality was a bad thing. Sex is a gift. I have given you that gift, and with which you can express your love and your ecstasy, your joy. So don't blame me for everything that they made you believe. Stop reading alleged sacred scriptures that have nothing to do with me. If you can't read me in a sunrise, in a landscape, in the look of your friends, in your son's eyes, in your daughter's eyes, you will find me in no book. Stop asking me, will you tell me how to do my job? Stop being so scared of me. I do not judge you or criticize you, nor get angry or bothered. I am pure love. Stop asking for forgiveness. There's nothing to forgive. If I made you, I filled you with passions, limitations, pleasures, feelings, needs, inconsistencies, free will. How can I blame you if you respond to something I put in you? How can I punish you for being the way you are if I'm the one who made you? Do you think I could create a place to burn all my children who behave badly for the rest of eternity? What kind of a God would do that? Respect your peers and don't do what you don't want for yourself. All I ask is that you pay attention in your life, that alertness is your guide. My beloved, this life is not a test, not a step on the way, not a rehearsal, not a prelude to paradise. This life is the only thing here and now, and it is all you need. I have set you absolutely free. No prizes or punishments, no sins or virtues. No one carries a marker, no one keeps a record. You are absolutely free to create in your life heaven or hell. I can't tell you if there's anything about this life, but I can give you a tip. Live as if there is not, I should say, anything after this life, but I can give you a tip. Live it as if there is not. As if this is your only chance to enjoy, to love, to exist. So if there's nothing after, then you will have enjoyed the opportunity I gave you. And if there is, rest assured that I won't ask you if you behaved right or wrong. I'll ask, did you like it? Did you have fun? What did you enjoy the most? What did you learn? Stop believing in me. Believing is assuming, guessing, imagining. I don't want you to believe in me. I want you to believe in you. I want you to feel me in you when you kiss your beloved, when you tuck in your little girl, when you caress your dog, when you bathe in the seas. Stop praising me. What kind of an egomaniac God do you think I am? I'm bored being praised. I'm tired of being thanked. Feeling grateful? Prove it by taking care of yourself, your health, your relationships, the world. Express your joy. That's the way to praise me. Stop complicating things and repeating as a parakeet what you've been taught about me. What do you need more miracles for? So many explanations. The only thing for sure is that you are here, that you are alive, that the world is full of wonders. Spinoza. When I read that first, my first thought was, wow. Wow, that's the closest that I have seen to expressing how we as Unitarian Universalist people think we ought to go about life. My next thoughts, of course, were not so kind. I thought, where was Spinoza when I was studying theology? Where had he been when I was going through all the bad and embarrassing times of growing up? Why hadn't someone told me about this view of God and life? And why had I allowed fear and the expectations of others to make me miserable and turn bright skies gray and good things into dust? Then I thought to myself, get over it. That's the past. It is what it is. Now is the important time. And I say now, I'm going to change this fear. I'm going to change those expectations. I'm not going to allow them to stop me from Hoo-guh. No more. I'm going to enjoy life with all the gusto I can muster. Not like the song, Enjoy Yourself, it's later than you think, which only talks about selfishly enjoying things, but like Hygge, the kind of enjoyment where everyone has a chance to feel okay. And the good thing about that is that you can do it if you believe in God. You can do it if you're a humanist. You can do it if you're a Muslim. You can do it if you're anything. Because it doesn't matter what you believe or what you think, it's what you do. This world is a wonderful place. So I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to love it. I'm going to take care of it, not destroy it, and help others to do the same. I'm going to realize that people are absolutely fantastic, wonderful, amazing, intricate, surprising. I'm going to really get to know some people, listen to them, learn from them, appreciate them, be thankful for them, and the contributions that they make to living. Oh, yes, and I'm going to remember that the animals that exist with us on this earth are people too. We are all part and parcel of each other in this world. Look at yourself. You are terribly wonderful too. Are you thankful for who you are? Like Spinoza says, prove it. Prove you are by taking care of yourself, your health, your relationships, and start now. Life is not a test, not a step on your way to some afterlife. This is it. All we have is now. When I thought of our UU services, I realized that all too often we UUs spend too much time in our heads. We think or talk about everything, but rarely do we express our feelings. Quite often our hearts aren't stirred, our passions not aroused. Where in our liturgy is there a place where we can cry out with a joy or exultation, shout out our rage against injustice, express the pain and frustration we feel in a society that favors the rich and powerful, destroys the poor, the needy, and even the earth itself? After all, that's what our liturgy is supposed to be all about, the work of the people. So we are here to express our outrage at wrong and express our joy for what we do in our world to make it a better place to live. And we're here to plug into the electric source to power up our batteries so that we can go out and face the prejudice, the unfairness, the injustice that happens in our bleeding, hurting world and make it better. Give it Hoo-guh. Well, one way that we can power ourselves up is by singing. I know you're going to quote that old joke that we UUs don't sing very well because we're always looking ahead to see whether we agree with the words. Well, my friends, I've checked out the words of the final hymn. As I might add, I checked the words in all our hymns this morning, and I checked the tunes with parts so that all ranges of voices might be heard as well, and ones for everybody, but especially this last hymn, which wonderfully expresses what we UUs are all about. I think it should be our theme song. I want us to sing it all together with all our hearts and minds. Let's sing it so that we can bring Hygge into our lives, to bring Hygge into others' lives, to bring Hygge into our world. Please turn to number 170 and sing because we are singing for our lives.